Hey YouTube, I've had a little hiatus from my Examining Worldviews series. I'm going to continue that. Sorry about the hiatus. What the heck is that? Anyways, okay, I examined atheism and my thoughts on it. Now, atheism, to me, is understandable. However, a couple thoughts that I did have on it were that it's looking for evidence with something that you wouldn't expect to find evidence. You know, if there was a teapot circling a planet or something like that, I think there's probably a pretty good chance that we would expect to find evidence. But if by definition, what is commonly called the supernatural, or what goes beyond our detection by five senses, exists, you would not expect to find evidence for it. Why would you? There's nothing to indicate that it would be detectable. So, while I think atheism is understandable in that regard, I also think that to make that claim, to say that, you could say that you don't believe in a deity or in the supernatural, but to say that there is no deity is a presumptuous claim, in my opinion. I don't think the claim can be made, because how could somebody know? I mean, someone can claim to know something about this, claim to have personal experience, but even then, it's still kind of subjective. It's not extremely detectable, but I think it can be logically inferred. Anyways, moving on. So that's kind of my take on atheism. I'm just wrapping that up. So now I'm going to examine theism, and when I say theism, I am including basically what people would commonly refer to as the supernatural, which I don't think the supernatural actually exists. I think there's the natural, and that has been detected and understood, and that which has not been understood. So I'm just going to include the things that have not been understood. Deity, whether it's deity or whether it's spirits, so-called spirits, or what have you. So examining this, the first thing I run into is, again, there's no lack of conclusive evidence. There's nothing that you can look at or feel or touch or smell or taste and go, yes, it's there. It does come down to a matter of faith, and when I say faith, I'm talking about firm, like my definition of faith is firm action based on trust. Okay? But belief, I guess you could say belief. It comes down to a matter of belief. That I believe something is there even though I can't prove it. I have no evidence to say one way or the other. I can't disprove it, I can't prove it. All I can do is either logically infer or believe that it's true. So, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can really say about the general idea of theism. Again, I'm not using it maybe in as much as the classical sense of the theological or philosophical term. I'm just using it in a broad, sweeping spectrum kind of way. So, think, since I'm using it so generally, it's hard for me to pin anything down with it, because it's a very inclusive term of like all religious views and faiths and beliefs and everything that comes outside the domain of provable knowledge. That's how I'm applying it. So, but I think, again, I don't think there's specific evidence to say, yes, there it is, look, see? I think it can just be logically inferred or not. I mean, personally, I think that there is overwhelming evidence for it, but again, that can be looked at from a certain point of view. Person can look at that and say, no, that's explainable in other ways. And a person can look at it and say, no, this is what logically makes the most sense to view it this way. So, it's debatable, and I think purposely so, but I'll get into that later. That being the case, broad generalization of theism. I still have 5 minutes. That was fast. I mean, I had my, basically what I went through to qualify something as a valid worldview whether it, how it met with human needs, the truth and goodness of it, and how it answered some of the most important questions: who, what, when, where, why, how. But I can't really do that with such a broad thing of theism. What I can do is try to go through some of the things that I've looked at and examined. I am not doing this just to be offensive. Again, with the atheism, when I looked at atheism, I was not doing it just to be offensive. I'm just sharing with you my conclusions, okay? And if you have something to offer on any of this that might affect, that might offer me things that I haven't already considered, that's great. If you've come to different conclusions from me, that's great. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just sharing my understandings. Maybe it'll benefit somebody else. Maybe they'll be able to think in ways that they haven't before. Maybe I'll be able to think in ways that I haven't before. That's the whole purpose for me for this, is just to share with you my conclusions and maybe learn something that I haven't already considered. So there you go. I am going to, now a lot of these things, honestly, I only know so much about, so I'm just going to look at what I do know about, and if somebody comes along and they're intimate with this knowledge, and I'm wrong in my assertions, I'm open to hearing a new view. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm going to try to go through what I know of paganism, and I'm going to include Wicca and Druidry with that. What I call Israelism, Judaism before the tribe of Judah got separated from the other tribes. Judaism, Hinduism, Confucianism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, what I call Netzaremism, which is, I'll get into that later, Christianity, Gnosticism, Catholicism, Islam, Shinto, Sikhism, Baha'i, Mormonism, Scientology, New Age, Unitarian Universalism, Satanism, and I'm even including the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which I probably should get something to eat soon. But anyways, so that's what I'm going to be going over in my future examinings. Yeah, so we'll see what I think of these, and I, like I said, I only know so much about them. So if you know more about them than me, about any of these worldviews or issues, topics, whatever, very welcome to hear. Very, very welcome to comment. Very willing to hear what you have to say. I'm not meaning to just bash anybody. I believe that like a lot of people, there's reasons why they have the belief that they do. Some of the reasons may be very good reasons. Some of them may not be so good reasons. Whatever. Everybody's on their path in life. Everybody's trying to figure stuff out, right? That's the way it seems to me anyways. So I think that is all for now. That kind of covers what I'm going to be doing with future episodes of this. Yeah, theism. The main thing that I see is there's just that it can only be believed. It can't be conclusively shown one way or the other. But I see that kind of an issue with theism and atheism. It's just more up in the air. I think that it can be logically inferred. I think there can be evidence that directs, but no explicit evidence. So thanks, and that's all I can think of right now. If there's something I missed, I'm blaming it on the MS. Have a good life. Thank you, and goodbye.